What one hasn't been in rotation?
Mikey, you got to bring in a jersey.
Yeah, dude.
I only think I have like one or two.
Yeah, Joe,
now.
you need to help us out here.
What are you talking about? I brought in one.
Well, dude, we're on episode like 12.
Welcome to Talkin Athletics with MTJ. My name is Joe. I am joined here with Tom. And what's this? Back from suspension?
What's this?
Could it be the one, the only, the undefeated champion, Mikey?
Listen, my suspension was wrong. I will be taking a stand against the union, against the HR. That video was heavily doctored.
Doctored, okay.
I know for sure we have confirmed the man who edited the video himself.
Whoa, don't be dragging this guy into this.
Whoa,
And he's going to have final say.
It was out of context.
There you go.
Very out of context.
Okay,
But-
I'll agree to that.
Nonetheless, I'm back and we'll get ready and back into action.
Well, I am glad that you are back, and I hope you certainly learned something from your suspension.
No, I didn't.
Unlike
'Cause it was
Draymond
unjust.
Green, I hope you're not
Hey.
like a Draymond Green.
You can
doesn't
take that up with
deserve that.
HR.
He's hitting straight.
Listen, I would gladly be the Draymond Green of this trio. Okay,
All right.
If we became the greatest podcast ever, I'd throw some.
I mean, you're ugly enough, so I mean, God, boom, roasted.
All right.
Boom roast.
I want a Kelso picture right there. Just
Tom, do some editing.
yeah, but it's work. It's work.
It's worked.
And we'll see. We'll see if I get around to that one.
Well, anyway, glad to have you back, Mikey. So let's get right into it. Why don't we start off with the AFC champions in the NFL? That is the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs defeated the Ravens. Unfortunately, my Super Bowl prediction is wrong. I had 49ers and the Ravens. It is now 49ers and Kansas City. How we feeling about Kansas City? I know, like last week, Tom, I had mentioned we really didn't seem to give a whole lot of love to Kansas City, and now they're just proving us wrong, and it's now in the Super Bowl, because you even said last week that you expected, just like me, the Ravens to beat Kansas City. So they seem to be beating doubters, a.k.a. us.
I stand by everything that I said last week, though. Patrick Mahomes proved to continue his same direction of attitude, I would say, with all of his pregame antics and just the Mahomes in general with him, Travis Kelce, and how they were being, even what they've said recently on podcasts, where I don't know if you guys have seen this. We haven't talked about that. They were on Pat McAfee and said that if he would have missed that kick, Tucker, if Tucker would have missed the kick that made it a one-score game, that they were both going to run onto the field and both get 15-yard unsportsmanlike conducts to rub it in his face and
wow.
Yeah, they both said this like on a podcast. So like it's really starting to rub me even more the wrong way of how they're acting, and now that they're winning too, and I don't want to see it.
But are they acting that way because they are winning?
I mean, yes, and
I mean, they sure as heck wouldn't if they weren't winning.
You can't if you're not winning, but I still feel like, and I going into the Tucker thing further, I don't know who's in the right, who's in the wrong there when it comes to
though.
In pregame warmups, Tucker, I believe both kickers, I believe it's very standard to take kicks at both field goal posts, knowing that the wind direction is going to be very different, and there might be an opening in one side of the stadium and not an opening in the other, and that could drastically affect how wind's coming in or anything like that.
Push the ball.
So I think traditionally each kicker kicks at both sides, and I don't know if there's a set time of when they're supposed to be on their side or when they're supposed to, when they can go across. But it happened to be that, Mahomes was getting ready to warm up.
Yep.
As Mahomes is warming up, he didn't like where Tucker's footballs and helmet had been placed, and he asked him to move them. And I guess Tucker claims that he did move them. He moved them about a yard or two out of the way from where they were.
Okay.
And after he had moved them, he moved a yard or two back to where he was going to start, kicking from, and that's where he always stretches. And that's when Travis Kelce walked over to the helmet balls that were sitting there, hucked them, I don't know how far, not crazy.
Like 5 yards.
Listen, but it wasn't a Myles Garrett, thank you, Myles Garrett helmet toss either.
It was I'm upset right now, I'm tossing this, but I'm not.
I thought it was like a sassy
angry
teenager, I know what I'm doing, I'm tossing my book bag after school, I had a rough day.
Before the game even started.
Yeah, and I get
day?
it set the tone, but I thought it was poking the Bears when it came to the...
Obviously not, though.
The Ravens, but yeah, no, they at the end of the day, they still find a way to, put themselves in a position to be in a Super Bowl game as much as I didn't want to see it or you didn't want to see it.
Oh, I did want to see it.
Patrick Mahomes is doing things with not a whole lot around him, it seems like at times. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've eaten my words enough on the Chiefs. I really hope that they don't win another one, even though I'm seeing a lot of predictions saying that that's probably going to be where it ends up.
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm picking Kansas City.
Oh,
the
really?
Super Bowl now.
I mean, and I get it because it's like I've picked against them
every
single
You're
round.
welcome, America. Now that I'm
outside
picking
of the first
them,
round,
they will lose.
Outside of the first round, I took them against the Dolphins. I picked them to lose, and they proved me wrong. So it's like, how many times in a row can I really, consistently be wrong on them?
One more.
No one's been higher on the 49ers than you. Do not leave us.
Oh, that's a good point.
I wouldn't say I've been super high on the 49ers because I think I took opposite picks when we did our. I think I might have taken the Lions.
Yeah, you took Lions and
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
But that's where you guys both took the 49ers, and
Yeah.
I had been very high on Brock and them, but I don't
I'll
know.
drive the bus by myself.
It's going to be a good
boys.
game. It's going to be a
gonna
great
run
game.
people over?
Just know when you guys crash and your bus isn't doing well, when I pass you, I'm not stopping to pick you up.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm
please
driving
explain.
the 49ers bus all the way to the end of the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But if your
the
Chiefs
49ers
bus
are my pick.
crashes, I'm not helping.
The 49ers are my pick because of George Kittle.
Oh,
George Kittle
you're
gets
still in?
two. Oh yeah, no. I'm still
yeah,
on.
You sweat. I was baffled.
I
Go
really,
Kansas City!
I'm so up in the air against it because I really didn't think they were going to beat Buffalo. I didn't think they were going to beat Baltimore, and now I don't think they're going to beat the 49ers.
I don't either.
And I'm sticking with my gut, damn it.
Listen, man,
I'm doing it.
No one expected. The only people who expected the Chiefs to make the Super Bowl were Chief fans and a few flat earthers. No one expected a month ago
Swifties.
for us to be here.
Yeah,
They
Swifties.
didn't, half of them didn't even know what the Super Bowl was.
Exactly,
Good
but
point.
they knew they were going.
That's true.
Yep. And same with Nick Wright.
Yeah, so honestly, the Chiefs fans, Swifties, and flat earthers. Those are the three demographic believers of the Chiefs a month ago. Everybody doubted them. They proved everybody wrong. Travis Kelce proved that he may be old, but he's still stout. He's got it in him still. And they've made their way to the Super Bowl. But I just think the 49ers have a better offense.
Okay.
And they have pretty much the same, if not better, defense. So I just, looking at the paper, I got to choose one. I just feel more comfortable going with the 49ers. But the Chiefs have been shocking everybody this whole
I was going to say, I know you really like, again, going all the way back to what we always talk about, Celtics versus Warriors, and you kind of were big on the championship experience. Do you feel maybe that the Chiefs championship experience, especially Patrick Mahomes being this is his fourth, and this is Brock Purdy's first, play any part?
Absolutely.
Or again, are you taking that of, Christian McCaffrey's really the engine that runs that train, so it really doesn't matter how Brock per se plays because
I think it very much. I think their last game.
McCaffrey.
I think the 49ers versus the Lions in the NFC Championship proves that Brock Purdy has to play good, because he played great in the second half and he did not in the first half. And it was a tale of two halves. I mean, they came back and played fantastic and won the game, obviously.
Yep.
I do think that the championship experience will be helpful. I think right now, I was saying earlier that I think Patrick Mahomes is no longer the American boy I thought he was.
Right.
I thought he was
The people's champion.
Yeah, the people's champion. He deserved all the praise he was getting, and he does. There's no way he will always deserve praise for how good he is.
Right.
But now it kind of sucks to give him that praise because you're like, wow, he kind of seems like a jerk right now, and that's kind of how it's been for a lot of the season. I think he's been very high-strung emotions. Now, granted, it gets stressful being a champion.
Yeah.
And they've been champions for pretty much 5 or 6 years now.
This is a historic run we are seeing.
They are on pace every year.
This is dynasty-worthy conversation now. Like,
6
if
years
they can
in a row
win this
going
one,
to the AFC
absolutely.
Championship.
If they can win this one, and what would that make it?
3.
If you can win 3 over the course of 6 years and be in 6.
In every single AFC championship,
That's
because
crazy.
obviously 1 year the Bengals beat them. So
That's
crazy. I think someone told me today that they've been in the Super Bowl 4 out of the last 5 years, if you include this one. 4 out of the last 6, and has been in the AFC Championship all 6 years. Yeah. Every single time Patrick Mahomes has been a starter, they've been in the AFC Championship game. The only time they weren't when he was on the team was when he was a rookie and Alex Smith was in charge.
A couple games.
So
the self-proclaimed captain.
Detroit.
What did Alex Smith call himself? The
Game day
president. No, he was
manager.
the president of the game day managers. Self-proclaimed president of the game day managers.
So you're saying it's dynasty worthy
Oh,
conversation?
absolutely. If you win.
But then even if you don't win, though, are we afraid, though, that Kansas City, with only being, I just discovered today, they're the 7th youngest team in the NFL. I know you and I kind of talked about this a little bit last week because obviously there's a couple players that stick out because we're like, oh, Travis Kelce and like Jones are a little bit old, but I looked up. Patrick Mahomes is only 28. I mean, and literally everyone else. I mean,
really
Rice
don't think
is
that
rookie.
their youth is that surprising at all. I mean, we've been talking all year how they've had a bunch of nameless faces at wide receiver.
Right.
Their defense is a completely restructured defense. They're actually really, 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 really consistently good for an entire season. Like they haven't been. They always somehow turn it up on the playoffs.
And that's what makes me depressed right there is because I look at Kansas City and they just remind me of what the Packers tried to do basically all of Aaron Rodgers' career. And so Patrick Mahomes is actually doing it where Rodgers couldn't. And that was he has a team that literally is just saying, hey, we have the best quarterback in the league. Our offense should be fine. We're going to use our first-round picks on the defense. And as you can see, Kansas City's defense has been like top 5 this year.
I mean, he's better than Aaron Rodgers, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that honestly, what you just said is a great example of him being better than
Yes,
Aaron Rodgers. And
absolutely.
that's not even.
And that's why I want to give credit to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly. That's not even knocking Aaron Rodgers. That's saying that's how good Patrick Mahomes is.
So with that being said, though, I do want to kind of ask you guys, let's say Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City, I know you guys are picking the 49ers. If they win a Super Bowl, is he in like your top 5 quarterbacks of all time? Do you guys have, like, I kind of was thinking about today, I was like, I could probably name my 5 all-time quarterbacks if you guys want me to kind of give you a little peek.
Hey, and how are you going at it though? Like, what is are we looking for like?
It's however you want to. Do you want me to kind of name my 5 to kind of give you
Yeah,
I feel like I have a hot take now because the way you worded that question.
Yeah,
I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback ever.
Ooh. Okay, so here's
his skill. I think he's just the best to ever play the game.
Well,
Tom Brady.
Here's my.
No, he's as a skill,
and that's where I
I
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying there.
Here is my top 5. At number 5, I'm trying to. Oh, okay. 5 was John Elway. John Elway at number 5. Number 4. I had Patrick Mahomes simply because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and obviously he's been historic these first 7, really
and
6 years.
Put him out that way. That's not fair.
I have, and he's
how many Super Bowls though? That's where
2.
like, I don't know.
Elway has 2.
Okay.
Mahomes has 2. Then at number 3, I have Peyton Manning. Simply again, he has 2 as well, and I went kind of with a tiebreaker of looking at the regular season. Obviously, I think Patrick Mahomes probably is going to break a lot of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady's records, but again, he could get hit. I don't want this to happen. Like, take the wrong hit, and all of a sudden he's out, and all of a sudden you're looking, it's like what could have been versus what is. That's why I currently have Mahomes at 4.
Right. I'm curious
Patrick
what you're going to
Mahomes
end with
at
here.
3. At number 2, I have Joe Montana. He has 4 Super Bowls. He was an innovator. Was a part of the West Coast offense that is now basically run league-wise.
Yep.
He played in a different era where
the comeback kid. You're preaching to the choir.
Well, I'm just kind of giving you an explanation. He was,
we had a Notre Dame guy as a guest today.
Is he great, dude? He probably was.
He seemed like
it was a different era, different rules. Obviously the offense wasn't super high scoring like it is now. Defenses had, a little bit more range than what they do now. So I think now, right, if you're playing press coverage, you can only kind of press them for 5 yards. Back then, they basically could just follow him everywhere. So that's why I put so much on Joe Montana. And then number 1 is obviously Tom Brady with 7 Super Bowls, obviously winning 6 with 1, and then proving it to the world when he went to Tampa and won it with a different team is why I would have him number 1. That's my top 5. Now, like I was telling my coworkers earlier.
So you a lot of weight on the Super Bowl titles.
Which like I told my coworkers.
There's one name I think you're missing. But he's missing Super Bowl titles, so I get where he's missing.
There's a few.
Are we on the same track? I would love to hear yours.
Well, there's a few. So I have 3 honorable mentions.
Big Ben's not on my top 5, so no.
I have 3 honorable mentions. 1 is obviously Aaron Rodgers' honorable mention. 2 is Drew Brees.
I think Ben's better than Aaron Rodgers.
Both your honorable mentions aren't the ones that I was
Ben's not an
thinking
honorable
of.
mention.
That wasn't what I was.
Like I
was
said,
just
Drew
making a
Brees
joke.
because his Super Bowl I feel is so heavily weighted because of Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
and having the weight of the city. I know he only got one, but he beat
That's a
Peyton
lot of
Manning.
pressure, man.
That is insane. And then my last honorable mention, well, actually, there's two more. Steve Young, he has 3 Super Bowls. Well, yeah, 3 Super Bowls, but 2 of them was as a backup to Joe Montana. Simply, that's why I kind of was like hard to rank him, but he did prove himself when he won a Super Bowl by himself. So if Montana got hurt, what are the 49ers? I don't know. Again, like we always talk about, we're getting to that would have, could have, should have. And then finally, again,
what are we at now? 9?
Yeah, dude,
I had a lot of
I know, right?
I had a lot of honorable mentions, and Terry Bradshaw had 4. But when I think of the Steelers,
Terry Bradshaw is who you're thinking of?
I think of
He's not
defense.
even the best
Dude,
quarterback.
your dad's gonna be appalled listening to
Yeah,
this.
Dan Marino.
Yeah, dude, you
Dan
didn't
Marino
even
doesn't
make
have
an
a Super
honorable
Bowl.
mention for you?
I could say I'm 10, I guess. There you
Oh
go.
my god, like dude, that's right. I think Dan cracks by 5.
I don't even think
He doesn't have,
Bradshaw's the
like
best
Dan doesn't have
Steeler,
the Super
dude.
Bowl, right? Isn't that right?
Dan does not have a Super Bowl.
That's where when you
That's the
when
issue,
I saw
yeah.
the trend you were going with, figured that was the guy who was getting left off. But that's right. I think Dan I put in there like if I'm looking at quarterbacks, if I'm looking at it as I want to take this quarterback and build a team around them in their prime, Dan's the guy that I want to do it with. You know, he's a dog. Like he's a gamer. Went to college in
Dolphins did
Pittsburgh,
it
can play in the
with
cold
him.
weather.
what?
So that's what the Dolphins did, but
It didn't work out, but I still would take it. I still like those. And how did him and Zach Thomas? Did him and Zach Thomas when Zach Thomas was on defense?
I think
Linebacker.
Zach was a little bit after
That's
Dan. I
sad.
think it was like
Put those two on a team together and watch what happens.
I want to
man.
say Zach was
He
if
was
he
like-
was on the team was really young and Marino was
Yeah,
who's
Zach
your top
Thomas.
5 then?
probably
I would
same
have to go.
number
I would have
one,
to go
right?
opposite order of you. I'm going Brady 1, and that's where if I'm looking at it from guys that were successful at being winners and commanding their team to winning as being the quarterback position, I'm going Brady 1, Montana 2. 3 is where I think I start to.
Yeah, I feel like after you get the top 2, it's a coin toss because a lot
Yeah.
of people are like you said.
Yeah, it's
Right
it's
there.
where it's super interchangeable of where you were throwing. I think I got Patrick. I don't know if Patrick's in my top 5 right now.
Really?
I think he might be just outside.
That's crazy,
Okay.
dude.
Wow.
'Cause
But that's
he
also
did-
I've
he
talked
has
about
as
how much
many-
I hate him.
But he also has
You know,
as many
like-
accolades as
Agreed.
90% of the guys you're naming
Agreed.
in 6 years.
In regular season
and he's
MVPs,
in the
yeah.
midst of proving me wrong of doing it without much help.
True.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
he's in the midst
If
of
he
doing.
wins it this year, would you
If he wins it this year,
reevaluate?
yeah, he's definitely in the top 5
If
for me.
he wins it
He
this year,
he
he-
leapfrogs Marino at 5 for sure.
And
That's
for
where
me,
I
he
like Marino.
leapfrogs Peyton and would be 3.
Yeah, I think I still have Peyton. Peyton at 3.
I don't think Payne's a top 5 guy.
Wrong.
He's an incredible quarterback and one of the best quarterbacks of all time, one of the best play caller on the line of scrimmage of all time. But if you guys are weighing so heavily into the rings like you guys were, I don't think his win with Denver that was not a good win.
But we're also taking into consideration the guy that took away a handful of rings for him is the number 1 quarterback
Yeah,
of all
true.
time. So that's something that I was taking heavily into consideration.
And I
where
know-
it was hands down in a
Well,
below
then you
that.
should
Peyton
think
was the
Josh Allen
second
is
best.
Incredible.
I do. I got the Josh Allen's boxes right there
Josh-
from like 3 years ago, brother.
That's
I've been on that train,
That's
man.
fair.
I love what Josh is entertaining. He's exciting to watch. That's a different.
He just sometimes
Like if you're
chokes.
telling me my top 5 quarterbacks, if I was looking to watch an entertaining game, that's a
Okay,
completely
yeah.
different.
That's different, yeah.
Big Ben would
Similar.
be my number 1. Eli would be my number 2.
Eli, you're never getting a blowout.
Oh,
if
are you
Eli's
talking
your
about
quarterback.
entertaining?
Entertaining,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Well, then you
Because
just
who-
get to watch his faces on the sideline, so that's why it's Eli.
Yeah, true. What'd you say?
So who's going to be your top 5? Because I know
Yeah,
Did
that's
you
true.
go through your whole top 5?
I don't know if I
You had
Marino at 5. I still got a 4, right? I'll put
Yeah.
Peyton at 3. Who was my 4? I had somebody that I was like, yeah, no, Patrick Mahomes.
So you
but
had
somebody that's
Brady-
better than Marino too.
you had Brady, Montana.
You said him. What was your 5?
I had John Elway, if that's who you're thinking.
I think it was Elway. Yeah, because I like Elway because he's a baseball guy. Yeah, that's what it was.
All right.
Who kind of started that trend because his final year he won a Super Bowl and
You
retired.
didn't have Breeze in your top 5.
So
That I'm taking Breeze over
4?
Elway.
Yeah,
Breeze at
you-
4. Breeze at 4 because of the
my
That's
only
fair.
thing, the reason
You guys are actually a lot closer to me than I thought off the top. I was like, dang, mine's gonna be wild.
I just feel like
my
you gotta
only
pay
thing
some
with
respect to
Breeze
Marino.
is that through his whole career, he was always regarded as like the 3rd best quarterback in the league. And I know when John Elway was playing, there was no question. There were parts in his career that he was the best quarterback in the league, where I don't think Breeze was ever the best quarterback in that
but
league.
he was playing with Peyton and
Tom Brady, yeah.
Tom Brady,
Who
two
are-
guys
yeah.
who you have above
Yeah,
Elway
who we
in
do
your
have
top
above.
5.
So if he would have played during the
And he
same
won a
era,
ring after Katrina.
Yes, like I said, it's almost like when we were talking about basketball. Like Dirk Nowitzki's ring is super heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
again, I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to complain if you have Drew Brees in your top 5.
Drew Brees is my second.
Second.
Oh!
Wow.
I'm just kidding. He's my third.
Oh. Okay.
I have Patty. Before Patty, he was my second.
Oh, and
I have Patty, Brady, Breeze. Dang, who was my fourth?
I know it's tough, isn't it?
Montana's my fifth.
Wow.
He was my fifth. He might move up to fourth if I can't think of anybody. I had somebody.
Alex.
somebody that we haven't said yet.
I don't remember.
Vic.
We've named
Vic was a
a lot.
name. Vic was a name that I tossed around just because Vic was unguardable
I would
back
take
when
Lamar over
back
Vic.
when Vic first hit the league and he was the first running quarterback. It
Dang
was
it.
different.
We
That
have
was different.
Patty,
Vic crossed my mind on this list,
Brady.
and I don't have any
Breeze.
runners in there. You know.
They got Steve Young.
I don't love that.
We'll go Montana 4. I thought I had
Aikman.
somebody.
If you say Aikman, I'll throw you out of my
No,
basement
he lived
right
under
now.
center.
I hate Aikman just as an announcer.
Because he
Oh,
lived under
geez.
center.
Kurt Warner.
No.
Went
Kurt,
to 2
that's
Super Bowls.
that's not an awful take. And
Greatest
if
show
you,
on
given
earth.
an extended career, if you were to go,
I'm not taking Kurt Warner if I'm not taking Ben.
You can have Ben.
I'm not. I
Don't-
don't know
please
if I
don't
want
take
Ben. He's close though, dude.
recent, like
Yeah,
older
well-
guy, like give me an era that you're thinking that you
I don't
think he might have been.
Roger Staubach.
No.
This is not helping me. Like if you give me an era, I think I could rattle off some names. I feel like we've rattled off a lot of
We
names.
have-
That's
There's
why
a
it's
lot
getting
of
hard to
good-
remember. You threw in Vic like for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm like, who
You
else
added
haven't
a
we
name
said?
to the pot, man, and I'm already confused. We'll go Elway 4.
I thought you just had Joe Montana at 4.
Yeah, not Elway. Joe Montana. Sorry.
Rich Gannon?
No.
Mike Glennon.
No.
Rich Gannon was a stud, though.
I can't remember who it was. Oh well, we'll pick. We're gonna draw out of a hat now.
Dan Marino.
Because I love Peyton, but I think one of his 2 rings are fraudulent. So if we're trying to lean into the ring thing,
Well, you can take this any way you want. I mean, like I said, I use
I'm
the,
trying to think of
we're
another
gonna
quarterback.
Take Peyton. We're gonna take Peyton because I do think one of his 2 rings was fraudulent, or whatever that word.
but he
is.
went to 3 Super Bowls.
But I like play for play, drive for drive. He might have been one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So I'll put him at 5 just for his ability on the field, but lacking accolades.
Omaha.
I mean, he actually does have a lot of. I mean, he's like a 4-time MVP.
No, I'm just saying
His
rings.
dad?
Like,
Were you thinking of Arch?
no,
Okay. Yeah.
that's mine.
Nice.
That's fair. That's fair. I can't argue. I feel like it's hard to argue with that just because there's so many different ways to interpret it.
You guys were a
and
lot
everything
closer
there.
to mine than I
Yeah.
expected.
So you already
off
have
the
Mahomes
top.
at 1?
Well,
Yeah, I think that's wild.
Other than Brady,
But I get your
he
argument.
has done what every other top quarterback of all time has done in 6 years.
And you can't say that
Without a
he's-
wide receiver this year.
name an
This year,
attribute other than name a physical, tangible like attribute that is measurable. That is that Tom Brady is better at than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
You can't do
exactly.
it. That's your argument.
Like
there.
Patrick Mahomes is not only physically one of the
It's the mental
best
side where-
quarterbacks I've ever seen, but he has the most accolades in such a short amount of time. If he gets
That's true. He's on pace to shatter it. You know, what I
Shatter,
mean?
yeah.
Like I just think
Yeah,
it's
if he
incredible.
keeps going to Super Bowls, continuously like this, yeah, he's
Well,
gonna
he's only got to
definitely
go to
break
like 3 over the next 16 years if he wants to stay on pace. You know what I mean?
So are we giving a lot of credit to what Patrick Mahomes is doing, or are we going to discount him at all with Andy Reid?
This year, no.
I did that thought did just cross my mind. I won't lie. Is say Andy Reid retires in 3 years and it all falls to crap, and Patrick Mahomes is like an above average guy,
That's why, again, I was kind of looking at
like
Tom
slightly.
Brady.
Say he has like a Burrow year this year where it was like, you
Well,
did all
Burrow
right.
got
Like
injured.
no,
That's a bad
I'm
example.
saying when even when he was healthy and like the offense got going, like it took a while for the offense to get going, and they had games where it was like, what's going on? They couldn't find the end zone. It just didn't seem like Burrow was all there even when he was healthy.
Okay. I don't think he ever was healthy this year, though. I think he
That's
was
fair.
healthy
That's
for
a fair argument.
That's why,
Beside the point, though. Go on.
But no, so say he's
like a
just outside of the top 3 quarterbacks.
so like a Justin Herbert kind of deal.
Yeah. Give me how Herbert played this year. That's fair. That's a fair comparison. Like it just like you see potentials there, and you know it could be, but it just wasn't out there this year.
I think
Would that change your mind?
I don't think that'll happen to him though.
I
because
agree. I don't
he'll be
think
so
that'll happen
sought
either.
after. Like any team can get him.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. And I think
But
we're
would
seeing.
he want to leave?
But I also Well, if in this hypothetical world you're saying if Andy Reid retired,
Because I would feel like
but
Kansas
I
City
don't
would go
know if
out
you would
and
wanna
try
leave.
to get like an offensive guru, like find the next.
No,
Andy
they
Reid.
might, but I'm saying is if it didn't work, he could just leave and go to
Okay.
any team in the league. You know what I mean?
Pick his system. that
I
he wants to
also
play in,
I
yeah.
am giving him a lot of credit for this because yes, Andy Reid is probably one of the best play callers in the league, and he did just that this year. But there was so many drop ball opportunities, and Patty still willed his team to win. Like Andy Reid did his job to perfection, but the team was still messing up what he was telling him to do, and Patty was still willing his teams to win. So that's why I would give him a lot of credit.
Agreed.
And if he wins this year, he'll have more accolades, more rings, I should say, than everybody but Brady when it comes to quarterbacks. Isn't that right? He'll
Yes.
have 5, right? 4
I
Wait, what are you talking about?
rings.
I believe you're correct.
No, he would have 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, no,
I thought
you're
he
right.
had
No,
3.
nope.
Okay,
only
so
has
he'll
two.
be
Only has two.
in
Only has two.
third place ring-wise when it
Ring-wise,
comes
yeah.
to quarterbacks. So in
He would
6
be-
years,
yeah.
that's incredible. 3 rings in 6 years. And he did it with not a lot of help this year. I mean, Rice and Travis Kelce played very well in the playoffs so
Yep,
far. I'll
and
give them
Pacheco.
that. And Pacheco, he's been constant, I think, throughout the year. He's played pretty well. But still, like, it's still really impressive what he's
Agreed.
done.
So obviously, I'm picking Kansas City to win the Super Bowl. You guys are going 49ers. Who do you guys think it's going to be the MVP?
George Kittle.
You're going with George Kittle.
Christian McCaffrey.
You're going
If they win, it'll be Christian.
And I'm going to go with
Because he's
George
going to
Kittle.
get a receiving touchdown and 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns.
George Kittle gets MVP, and during his MVP acceptance speech, he hands the trophy to Brock Purdy. You heard it here first.
You want to do it? You want to do
oh
a
my
5er
God.
on?
Oh, dude, put it in the parlays. Put
Do
it
you
in the
want to do
parlays.
a 5er on if the 49ers
Fiver?
win, if it's Kittle or CMC?
I feel like I've got to have at least
You
a
could
2 to
even
1
give him Brock
return.
Purdy.
The odds of Christian McCaffrey winning the MVP, I feel like are much better than George Kittle winning the MVP. So therefore, I feel like it should be a 2 to 1
in your mind,
payout.
it's not though, because you're guaranteeing Kittle.
I'm telling you, that's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. But the
Do
odds,
you believe it enough to put a 5 down him or Christian
absolutely
McCaffrey?
no. I'm a man that knows my value when it comes to a bet. When it comes to a bet,
What
if
if
I
he
want to take
throws
that bet, I'll
Brock
put it in
Purdy
at
in there
Vegas.
with you? With it. Like, you can have Brock Purdy and Kittle.
Okay, how about this? We'll do 5. We'll do
I don't hate
5.
that.
And if George Kittle wins MVP and hands it to Brock, I'll give you 15.
Make it 20.
No.
Ooh.
If we do a
Dude,
10,
I'm not even getting a 1 to 4
if we do a
payback on that. Are you kidding me?
If we
A
do a
1 to
10
4.
and 20, I'll do a 10 and 20. Just a 10, and then if he does a 20.
There's a 1 to 2. No.
Okay.
No. Dude, these are awful odds.
You
So-
drive a hard
Don't let
bargain.
your friends talk you into bets like this. Check the Vegas odds. Know the odds.
I'm speaking from experience. Yeah, Mikey's very
trying
good
to
at
pull
getting
the
people
wool
to take
over
weird
my
bets.
eyes. This is not happening, people.
The amount of money I have lost,
Dude.
Mikey.
I'm no
Joe lost $20.
I'm no LSU / Patriots wide receiver, but I know when I'm getting screwed when it
No,
comes
it's
to a
booty,
bet, brother.
By the way.
What was it?
Booty.
Yeah,
It's
that's
exactly what you'd think it is.
Dude, by the way, I heard that the aliases weren't
No,
aliases.
it's
That
just
was
his
just his
name.
name. His name
Yeah, like an
one.
01,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
no.
a 1 afterwards.
Dumbest thing in the world.
So I'll take Patrick Mahomes as Super Bowl MVP, kind of just generic. If the Chiefs win, I'm pretty sure it's going to be his. But with that being
We'll
said,
put 5 down on it.
do you think there's any chance that Kadarius Toney
I feel like
wins
he might be
Super Bowl
screwing.
MVP?
Actually,
I
I
don't
feel like
even
he
know.
might be screwing you there.
I don't even know if he'll play. Yeah, he would be.
I feel like he would be screwing you on the odds
would
there.
But he wouldn't take the bet anyway.
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Be
will
the
Kadarius-
MVP by not playing.
Will Kadarius Toney even play? I mean, he really.
He went off on Instagram Live.
So he saw this bomb in front of him, and he was like, "I need to defuse this." And then what he did is he threw a grenade at it. He's like, "Oh, he went live." For anybody who didn't see, Kadarius Toney didn't play last week against the Ravens.
Hasn't
because
played the last 2 weeks.
The team said he was injured, and then he went on Instagram Live and said that he wasn't, and that they just won't play him. But I think what he forgot to take into consideration is why the reason they're not playing him might be, and it might be because he's just terrible.
Well, no, the issue is it's psychological. It has to be. Like, he's got broke hands.
Okay.
It's like the Simone Biles, when she got the where she lost herself in air.
got the
It's like
yips,
that
man.
every
the
time
spins,
that
yeah.
he goes to catch a ball or do something that's productive for the team. it backfires. Like, there's something with Toney, and you just have to get him away. Like, when you're doing things and things are going right for that organization.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty bleak at times this year, where there were a few times this year I would have told you there's absolutely zero chance that this Kansas City Chiefs team is in a championship
Super Bowl
game,
but
let alone it being a
Swifties,
Super Bowl
the
championship
Chiefs fans
game.
and the Flat Earthers, man.
You know, so that's where it seems like things are going well at the right time. Well, somebody's been away, and when 2 + 2 are continuing to equal 4,
there's a
why are we going to
correlation
make
there.
it 3 + 2? You know, like, why are we going to add anything to that equation? Let's keep it the way it is and keep the status quo. So the issue being, we live in a day of social media where he isn't realizing how much this is going to be killing his next contract after they trade him. You know,
I was
going to
say,
be killing his money.
I think a lot of analysts said that they were trying to, like, the Chiefs were trying to kind of save face for Toney by not playing him and saying that he's injured. That way, when they let him go, someone will be like,
That's what I
he
meant.
was injured. Like, we'll give you a contract. I mean, I just wish the Chiefs would have played you. We'll get you to the Super Bowl instead. He's like, no, I'm completely healthy, and it's like exactly
I
what
wonder
you
if
guys
it
are
messes
saying.
with his contract this year. Like, I don't know if it messes with his money, like anything. That's where my head jumps to, but I feel like it
Well,
can't
even
be.
if-
I didn't
Yeah.
take that into consideration. That's a good
I'm
question.
sure, like, I wonder, incentive-wise, being on the field for a Super Bowl, I'm sure that has something to do money-wise. Like,
he's
I'm
still
sure there's something in
rostered.
your...
I feel like as long as you suit up, though.
Yeah, he's
It would
on
have
the
to be like
roster.
a receptions, yard, touchdown thing.
Well, yeah,
And
okay.
You know what I
played,
mean?
maybe.
But either way, I'll
Yeah.
put a lot of money and he won't be on the field come Super Bowl
absolutely.
Sunday. I'll put a lot of money on that.
Not anymore.
I
But
wonder if there's a line out there, one snap. Like, what are the odds of having one snap, Toney in the Super Bowl?
if you're... I hope no one's betting on it.
I'd throw like a $2.
But this
on
is,
it.
I think this is another example of he's going to get one more shot at somebody that's terrible or has a big injury to their wide receiver core next year, and that might be it for him. And this is going to be another example of you cannot go out and run your mouth on social media and say things against your organization or reveal things against your organization or just be outlandish if you are not a superstar player. Period. Like, when Antonio Brown started to decline, and even Antonio Brown, like, he wasn't even declining when he started to go crazy.
Yeah,
No,
production-wise,
He just
yeah.
literally physically disappeared.
There is a point where it doesn't matter anymore, and you can't suck and be crazy. Like, that does not work. Like, that's liability from a team perspective for no production, or, you know, maybe hopeful that it could pan out. But this is team number 2.
Yeah.
You know, this is...
What team did he originally play for?
He originally played for the New York Giants, which, look, hindsight, drafting error. Don't know who, you know, said that, hey, this kid's, you know, ready mentally, you know, to come and grow up and
I don't know.
be
I
an
think he's
NFL
got a
player.
pretty good head on his shoulders.
I mean, if AB is a role model, then yeah, it's a great head on his shoulders. But it was rookie year. He
Rookie
came in
year?
and he held out. He was not there mini camp. He didn't know I think it took him. He's had to, I think, miss weeks 1 and 2 because he was still learning the playbook. He held out that long, I want to say. Like, he was getting fined on his rookie contract for not showing up, if I'm remembering correctly. I'll try to stat check that, and hopefully I can just write I was right here. But there was something where he
As
was
a
not there.
rookie?
As a rookie, he was a problem. I think the Giants did a good job.
What you guys get in return? Like a 3rd-round pick or something?
Dude, we got something. We got something out of return for Kadarius Toney, which looks great at this point right now because I don't think the Chiefs are getting any. I don't know what his deal is if he is on a multi-year deal, but I would bet
This
it's over
topic
after
is
that.
why I thought Tom wrote it because
No.
you put in parentheses like
No, Joe, just playing to the
Are
crowd.
the Chiefs finally realizing why the Giants wanted to get rid of him? And I was like,
But it was
makes
said.
sense, and that's something Tom would write, being a Giants fan.
It was
But, I
a
mean,
rumor.
you're also very right.
It was a rumor that was going
heard it here
around
first.
when and before he got traded that he was a problem in the locker room, that he was starting to, become an issue, and the older guys were having a hard time corralling him. And when your older guys are Saquon Barkley, like, I don't know who's reining the guy in. Like, I can't think of a guy that's, the perfect
Yeah.
amount of hands-on, but not over the top where he's like, oh my God, this guy's a big old doucher,
Saquon Barkley is a really intimidating human being.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if that guy doesn't straighten you out, but he appears to be super nice as well. Like,
Yeah.
That's also more
like if that
intimidating.
guy can't straighten you out though, and you don't want to, follow that guy's footsteps, who is gonna, straighten you out? And that's where the Kansas City Chiefs look at it and said, "Oh my gosh, this is a first-round wide receiver,
Yeah.
and he runs really fast and does crazy things when given the opportunity, and the ball is gently placed somewhere in his
We
vicinity.
just lost Tyreek Hill. We want to replace Tyreek Hill.
It looked great on paper until they realized the mental side wasn't there. But I guess, the Giants got fooled the worst because he's a first-round draft pick. Another one wasted.
Toney had more catches this year than I've ever had in my NFL career. All
Facts.
I'm saying, give me a call. Cheers.
Oh, agreed.
Give me a call. Great locker room guy.
Absolutely. Better than Toney.
Way better than Toney. Fantastic morale. Here's the thing, Kansas City. You don't even have to play me this week.
You don't even have to pay him.
Complain. You don't even have to pay me.
Just get him there.
Yeah, just get me there. Great locker room guy. I'll even be like a designated water boy, team manager.
Maybe a little reporting.
I'll scrub the toilets.
You've heard of utility guys? I'm a utility organization player.
Yeah,
any role that you need me to fill, I'm there. Water boy, laundry guy. You name it, I'm there.
This week I'll take out the trash. Next week I'll draw up the offensive playbook. I'll do whatever you need.
Let me know what week you're doing that. Not for betting purposes or anything.
Well, anyway.
Heavy under. Actually, you might want to do it with the over because the other team would have the ball so much.
I'm just letting you know I'm gonna pound the spread, brother. The spread is getting pounded and not in your favor.
Well, anyway, so it seems like Kadarius Toney's kind of blowing his NFL career. But speaking about blowing something,
what?
Do you guys think that the Lions
blew? There's going to be a nice pause.
I needed to let him finish.
We're going to let that sit in for a second.
Do you guys think that the Lions blew the game in the NFC Championship, or did the 49ers win it?
Both. They put the Lions put themselves into a situation where they had the game fairly won.
Okay.
And the 49ers needed to
have a comeback. Yep.
Needed to go out of their way, do something that was, I think the line got up to 12. They were 12-point underdogs at one point when the lead was the largest for the Lions. You know what I mean? So if you're overcoming that, you are going and doing something to take the game away from somebody else.
Okay. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the Lions defense had a tale of two different halves, just like the 49ers offense did. And, I feel like it can be looked at two ways, two completely different ways there.
Do you think any of I know you just mentioned the defense, but a lot of people are obviously questioning Dan Campbell.
Listen, that's where I draw the line, Joseph.
Yes.
I will admit the lights got a little too bright for Danny Boy. They did.
Disagree.
He made some aggressive calls.
He's been aggressive all year.
But he stuck to his guns.
Yes.
Right.
And also, even if it was the wrong decision, do not tell me that it's Dan's fault. He is the Detroit Lions. He is the leader on and off the field, in the locker room, in the organization, in the office buildings, or on the streets, in the city hall. He is Detroit. He is such a big part of the reason why Detroit Lions made it this far, because it is so easy to get lost when you're playing well and you're young and you're not experienced and you don't know how to do certain things or what you need to do next. Dan Campbell held that team strong. He didn't let them get too excited, but he kept a pep in their step. He made them believe in themselves. He took an organization that has been dog water for my entire life, your entire life, your entire life, since texting has been a thing. I understand Dan Campbell may not have done the best he could have done. I think he did, because he stayed to his guns and he did what worked for him all year. But even if you think he made the wrong decision, do not blame him for this loss, because this team would have not been there without him. Maybe you could replace one or two coaches in the league. I firmly believe that. He is the Detroit Lions.
I'm not going to totally blame him, but I do want to say that some blame needs to, the first fourth down, completely, that I was fine with that one, him going on fourth down. They wanted to try to stretch their lead. I kind of understood why they were doing that. But the second one where they could have kicked a field goal to tie it, that I thought was just inexperienced coaching. Especially when you've already seen, it's okay, we went for it on fourth down when we were winning and we didn't get it. We are now losing, but I can get a field goal. Worst case scenario, it's we miss it, we're going to be down by 3. But if I don't make the fourth down play, guess what? We're going to be down by 3. So I should just try this field goal, because best case scenario, we are going to be tied.
I get why he did it, and I would have done the exact same thing, but I also get the criticism of doing in that situation.
Yeah. I agree both with what I'm more on Mikey's side there, where I'm looking at the odds saying, okay, hey, we already failed on one and we're above 50% as a team going forward on fourth down. They stopped us once. I'd say, they're not stopping us 2 times in a row because I get that that's a gambler's. It's a gambler's fallacy in math that is not true logic and not true mathematical probability and how that works. I'm aware of that, but
I just feel like
you're a gambler. Like that, Dan Campbell is a gambler. And I'm all about it. My 2 takes on it. Have you seen a post from a Detroit Lions fan? Which I didn't know they were out there. 2.
Yeah, no.
They traveled well. Just side note on point 1, but didn't know Lions fans were out there, and I haven't seen one upset Lions fan online. I haven't seen one post. They're all super and how can't you? You're very happy. It's like the Bills when they first got there with Josh Allen. They're very happy right now.
My buddy's from Michigan,
so very good
Lions
for them.
Fan, and I'll let you keep going, but I kind of want to piggyback what you're saying. He is a diehard Lions fan from Michigan, about an hour away from Detroit, and I texted him after. I was like, hey man, I'm really sorry, that's a hard way to go out. And he's like, dude, I never expected to be here. He's like, I just watched my team play in the NFC Championship. I truthfully never thought in my life I would.
Yeah. No, that's completely spot on, and that's really where the whole city is still behind the team, and everybody's behind Dan. So I agree with Mike where I don't know if you can put any blame on Dan.
I'm going to give him some. I'm not going to kill the guy because, like you said, he's been consistent all year. He's been a gambler, but I still just think the inexperience. So you got to give a little blame of his inexperience. That's all I'm saying.
I think a big reason why I'm not upset with the decision to go for it again is
even if he would have just challenged it, because I thought that was a bad spot too.
Nobody would have ever known if it was a bad call until the play developed.
Right.
That's why I'm okay with it. It was a play that statistically has worked for them majority of the year, and everyone says we got to go with stats now, so we're going with the stats. It just didn't work.
And at that point, the offense, that was going to be my number 2, was the second 4th down, the offense was churning for the 49ers. The 49ers had it going again at that point.
Right.
You're in a shootout. The game went from being where I think if that decision would have come, before the 49ers would have scored to, go back up, and they were just it would have been extending the lead out to make it so it was a 7-point game. I think they would have taken the field goal at that point. But because
that's a
the 49ers,
great point,
you know what I mean?
Them going, because honestly,
if they weren't playing from behind to tie the game and giving the ball to the offense that's chugging along already.
Yeah, because if you're Dan Campbell, you're thinking, dude, this offense has been moving. We do really good on 4th down. Statistically, we should get this. If we can get 4 points above them, they have to
get a touchdown.
Yeah, they have to score.
Which gives our defense a way better probability of getting a stop.
Yeah, and at that point, that offense proved for the last quarter and a half that they can get you to the 40-yard line. You know what I mean? They can get you to the 35, 40-yard line. They can get a field goal. It might be long, but they proved that they are at that point in the game where they can get there.
Yeah, so if you're in the other situation and you're not
even harder.
And you're not in the shootout, you're in protection mode still of, we're protecting a lead. They haven't, come back and surpassed us yet. We're not back in the shootout. I think you take the 3 points, make it a full 7-point game.
So why didn't he take it on the first
the first one?
Because then they would have been up 3 possessions versus the 2.
That was a closer first down, right?
Actually, I think it was
longer. 4th down, was it longer?
Actually, I think that one was 4th
and that's right. I thought that one was over aggressive. I disagreed. I disagreed with that one more than the first one, but even then, that's been the Lions. If he picks up one of the 2 of those, I think it could be the dagger. I think we could be looking at a different Super Bowl team going to represent the NFC. You know what I mean? You're 1 4th down conversion away from potentially winning that game.
I hate the random narrative that came up after that. I've never heard this said before, saying that you have to. Okay, I have. Let me try to get through my thought real quick.
Okay.
I saw a narrative this weekend after the game that said you got to be willing to change. And yes, I agree to that to a fault, but none of these coaches ever changed their schemes in the last 2 drives. That doesn't happen. Statistically, they've won games doing this in these exact moments.
Agreed.
So statistically, you keep doing it.
Well, they've also lost games.
And guess what? Yeah, true.
Too,
and guess what?
Yeah.
You gambled and it didn't work.
You gambled and got there.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting to be there.
Yeah, no one expected him to get this far.
You gambled and got there, so why are you going to change now?
Exactly.
So
no one expected him to get
Lady
here.
Luck hasn't left until she's out of the building.
Yeah, and no one expected them to get here, and then now all of a sudden we're like, damn, you had that. What did you do? Well, no one expected them even going into the game to be up 3 touchdowns against 49ers.
Exactly. Didn't think that was...
Yeah. Well, 3 scores.
3 scores.
If you would have told me some team was up 3 scores in that game, game, would have told you 100% 49ers,
Yeah.
would have put a lot on it. You know, like that itself.
It just, again, as a